Here is the Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. That DCT stands for dual clutch transmission, so it is fully automatic. You don't have to shift, you don't have to worry about a clutch, you can just ride. You only need one arm to ride this bike since the shifting is done for you. Now, is it worth it? Most motorcycles are manual. So does it take away some of that experience? Not really, and here's why. So I love manual bikes. I mean, I currently ride a Ducati Super Sport, but it does have quick shift up and down, so kind of like an automatic, and I do use it more than I thought. Now, the Honda Rebel here is fully automatic, no clutch needed, and it's a very smooth experience. I mean, I went from driving manual cars to driving a dual clutch transmission car, and it was so good that I gave out the manual. Now, yes, I do miss manual, but not that much. The motorcycle does give me still the manual feel. But if you don't want to shift gears on a bike, you don't have to. And this Honda Rebel does a very, very good job. So we will be seeing more automatic motorcycles. So let's go through some of the quick details. Now, you get a larger tire up front. You get this single disc on the front, and the brakes are powerful enough for that. They're a little softer, but this is a cruiser. You've got the ABS, as you can tell right there. And then on the sides here, this is where the dual clutch transmission is. So you can see it there. So it does add a little bit of a weight to the bike. So the wet weight of this motorcycle is 509 pounds, which is still very light for a cruiser. The Harley Davidson equivalent is about 550 pounds, and that's a fully manual bike. So the extra weight, you won't notice it here. It's also very well engineered, so once you get it off the side stand, it feels very light, especially for a bike of this class. Now, it does come with the Dunlop tires, which are just fine for cruising around, and nothing too aggressive, nothing too soft either. You get the LED lights all around, which is very, very nice. Looks very sharp and modern for how old it is. You get the decent Showa shocks as well, so definitely better than most. And you have adjustable suspension settings up front. So there you go. So you can play around with that. And the best way to figure out your suspension is just to adjust it, go for a ride up and down a road, then adjust it again, then do the same ride. That'll tell you what you need to do with your suspension, but I always do recommend that you should chat with a suspension specialist. So let's have a look at your controls up front here. So right hand, you got your standard kill switch. But this is where you get to choose neutral, drive, and whether you want it to be fully automatic or manual. So by pressing that button, that now requires you to shift up or down, which is done on this side here. So that would be down, and then up here is up. And it, even though it's requiring you to shift up or down, it'll still do it for you if you leave it in gear too long and your revs are too high. You got your high beam, low beam, select, modes, horn, signal. It's all in the same place. What I did find when I was riding this, it can be easy to downshift if you're meaning to signal or vice versa. That's okay though, because if you force a downshift and you were not expecting it, it will smooth it out for you, so you don't have to worry about losing traction in the rear tire. You can also do your more aggressive downshifts as well. So if you're missing that manual transmission, the downshifting will bring back some of those good memories and what you want at a manual, but still drive on automatic. The dash is just like the other dashes that they're using for the Rebel now. It's still going to be bright in the sun. It's not a sunny day, so I didn't get to really test that out, but I'm sure it'd be just fine to read in the sun. Lots going on, so I mean, this will tell you what mode you're in. Obviously your speedometer, the temperature gauge is nice as well. Riders always like that. and your standard trip and odometer. So nothing too fancy there. I will mention that this bike does have a parking brake. So if you're wondering how do you prevent the bike from rolling away, you just pull this right back, and then now that prevents the bike from going anywhere. It's a paperweight right now. And to get that out of park, you would pull it back and press that button. And then there, you're good to go. Almost an anti-theft device, because I've never seen that in a bike before, so I doubt a thief would figure that out right away. They just figure the bike is locked somehow. So how about seat height? At 27.5 inches, that's low. So if you're not quite as tall as I am, I mean, I'm 6'2", 190 centimeters. This is super easy for me to sit on. My legs are quite bent. It's still comfortable enough that I'm not too cramped up here. So you can be a lot shorter than me, be very comfortable on this bike. And once it's upright, yeah, it's pretty light. Even on the kickstand, I find it's pretty gentle as well. Full tank of gas will add some weight, but it's only 3.6 gallons, which is kind of small, but it gets really good gas mileage. So it shouldn't be that big of a concern. It just depends how much you're hitting that throttle. Will really determine how often you're fueling up. But great bike, feels very light to me. So what about storage space? There isn't any. So you don't get any. You can probably jam your insurance papers right in here if you just pull that panel off. Jam them in there, close it up, and that's about it for storage. I also will mention as well that with all the controls up front, while this is fully automatic, look at all those buttons. You have lots of them, so you can be very, very busy, even busier than a basic manual transmission bike, if you want. With the bigger front tire, you may find that the front tire may wear out before the rear. So I have noticed this on the Rebel 300 and 500, is the sides of the front wear out before the rear. Now, you have a lot more power with this bike, so maybe that's not true, but keep an eye on your front tire just as equal to your rear tire. Now also with your rear brake, this is now how you modulate your slow riding, because you have no clutch. So when you're doing a tight U-turn, you will have to use the rear brake, and thankfully this is nice and soft, so it's harder to lock up. So this is how you get those tight U-turns and you're navigating through traffic and parkades. So would this get me to sell my manual bike and just go straight automatic? No way, but Honda did make it fun and enjoyable to ride an automatic bike. So if it's something you're considering, yeah, it's worth it. You will enjoy it. Or if you just don't want to shift, here's your option. This is probably one of the best out there. Well, there's not much, so I can't really compare it. But it's a very solid choice. And what I found was the acceleration was instant. You weren't working the clutch, so the power was quicker. I mean, if you want to drag race this bike off the line, you're gonna win. Because you're not shifting and it's so efficient, and you just can't beat the efficiency of a computer and a machine versus us mere mortal humans using a clutch. So it's very fast, and if you want, you can do the engine braking yourself, and you can force it to engine brake, and it sounds pretty damn good too. So people wouldn't even know you're riding an automatic bike. But you will, if you are familiar with manual, you will be reaching for that clutch. It's just there's nothing there. You might hit the shifter by accident, but I mean it's a learning curve, but it's a very, very easy one. So the cost of this bike can be around $12,000, $13,000. I mean it really depends what you option it out with. But as its basic stock trim, it's a very, very good deal. It's more in the sport side of being a cruiser than a fully relaxed cruiser. I mean, it is mid controls, so you're definitely upright, and some cruiser riders don't like that, some do. It's definitely worth trying out. You will get used to it. I personally, I like mid controls. It just feels more natural than having your feet out front. So tell me what you think about it if you've ridden it, or if you've bought it and you absolutely love it. It really surprised me how enjoyable it is to ride. It's not going to make me run out and buy one, but I definitely can recommend it.